All right, you're starting your weekend right here at 90.1 FM, San Antonio College Radio. I'm Dave, your host. And even though the campus is closed and the building was locked, a couple of musicians got in the building anyway. Talking about BettySoo and James McMurtry. They've been traveling all over together, playing a lot of venues out of the state and way up north, and maybe escaping some of the heat. But they're back down here and playing this evening over at Helotes at Floore's Country Store. Welcome back to San Antonio and KSYM.
Good to be back, Dave.
All right. As I just said, you've been traveling all over.
That's what we do, yeah. We get in the van and we go.
Now, was this sort of the first big go-around since COVID?
No, we've been it's at least our second big go-around.
Oh, okay.
If you mean go around the country.
Yeah, exactly.
Close coast, and we usually do like 2 East Coast runs to every West Coast run. I think there's just more gigs back that way. But we've been out since I guess late year. 2021.
Really?
We were out all of 22.
I guess do you have it all figured out by now, James? You've been doing this long?
No, certainly not.
No.
Nothing do I have figured out. I don't even know which category you're starting with there. But I can definitely say no.
Well, you enjoy playing though live.
That I do, yeah.
There. And you, BettySoo?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I have the best job in the world, so.
Now, you've been connected with other projects out of Austin also, right?
Yeah, I've, one of those bands that died in the pandemic was a girl group I was in called Nobody's Girl with Rebecca Lobe and Grace Pettis.
I couldn't remember the name. That's why I just sort of threw that out there.
That's all right. I've been in a couple of girl groups. I did, Charlie Faye's thing for a while, and I played with Bonnie Whitmore for a bunch of years, and yeah.
And and you guys have known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
And it seems to work.
Yeah. And actually, BettySoo sang on my latest record, which came out in 2021, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And, well, good. And you're playing tonight over at Floore's.
At Floore's Country Store. Yeah.
So, BettySoo, you do an opening set. Is that the way it works?
Yeah. I play an opening set. I do about half of it solo, and then a couple of James's band members are gracious enough to join me and make the rest of the set more exciting. And then
and then it's me.
And then it's him.
There you
the
go.
Main
all right. Well, you both got guitars. I know you got to get over to Floore's Country Store here in a bit. So who's first?
I'll be the opener on this one.
All right.
Don't know what went wrong, ain't known you that long to begin with. Leave the rocks in the road, stay away from the river, Virginia. There's not much you can do, except wait on a train when the road gullies out in a biblical rain. And that's how it's been ever since I can remember. I'm not too keen of mind, I don't pick up on signs like I ought to. So I won't sweat the cost of the coffee or the wine that I bought you. With your emptied out nest, the chicks have all flew. There's nobody left to take care of but you, and you don't know how to just be. No one ever taught you. I can't find much to say as you play with that loose strand of hair. If you had you a tail, you'd be twitching it. And I've got to get over the scare until you know. Until you know. Until you know. Until you know. I never saw such a cold day in June, did you ever, Virginia? In our young days, the old people called it blackberry winter. As the mail plane goes out at a slow rate of climb, this cold rain don't help with your low state of mind, hanging down like the fog on a ridge. You can't tell what's in it. And you stare me down hard and you ask me why I even care. It's not that I'm any Sir Galahad, there just needs to be somebody there to tell you no. To tell you no. To tell you no. To tell you no. Your bags are all packed. You're not coming back, that's for certain. And the landlady won't like the stains on the rugs and the curtains. That's just wear and tear, such as happens in life. The folks around here live to gossip and gripe, so I won't tell a soul what they'll never know, never hurt 'em. And I found the letter you left at the foot of the stairs. And I heard the horn blow, the train's pulling out. I hope you find somebody there to tell you no. To tell you no. To tell you no. To tell you no. Leave the rocks in the road, stay away from the river, Virginia.
Yeah. That's a track from James's latest release. It may not be brand new, but it is the latest release, right? Blackberry Winter from the Horses and the Hounds. And James is in the studio here because he's got a gig tonight over at Helotes Floore's Country Store. BettySoo is also on the bill, and she is going to be picking one for us here right now. How about that?
Sounds good.
Time we got to Richmond, you knew I was somewhere else. My mind was reeling down a different road, and you could see through what I felt. By the time we pulled into Charlotte and threw our bags on you hadn't said a word in hours, and I had torn my nails to shreds. And it's dark with the blackouts drawn tight. We can't to that lot and dragged so hard the ashes raised to your lips. Well, I knew you had so much to say, you just couldn't find the words to do your anger justice. And by the way, I know I haven't said enough. I believe in who you are. No, and now it's too late. Just fall empty like the bottles in the back seat of this car. It's dark with the blackouts drawn tight. Can't tell from here if it's 10 in the morning or the middle of the night. We're gonna lie here together like nothing's wrong. The window unit moaning its own sad song, and it's dark. Baby, it's so dark with the blackouts drawn. Yeah, we'll just lie here together like nothing's wrong. That whole window unit moaning its own sad song, and it's dark. Baby, it's so dark with the blackouts drawn.
Yeah. I was trying to listen to the lyrics. Is that tune called Blackout?
Blackout, yeah.
And that is from your latest release that sort of was done and then didn't really get promoted correctly?
Well, not that. I just never released it fully. I just I made it just to sell at the table, really, to raise money for the next studio record. But somehow it has found its way onto onto airlines and Sirius and who knows what
Oh,
else.
really?
Yeah.
Now, when that stuff like that does happen, are you aware of that?
I mean, I didn't know that it happened. Clearly, some DJ must have bought it and and programmed it into their thing. I don't mind. Certainly, don't mind getting a little royalty
good
money
little
for something
surprise.
I've
Found
never.
out because a royalty showed
I found
up.
out because it showed up on my BMI
That
statement.
doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine said every now and then he'd get a check from JetBlue or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got a couple $100 from the airlines, and I was like, okay,
Sure.
I don't mind.
There you go. Maybe I'll fly.
I'll take it. Yeah.
We're talking to BettySoo and James McMurtry. They're playing tonight, double bill over at Floore's Country Store. I got a question about, I know you've made a comment in the past where sort of like you consider yourself like a beer salesman or something like at clubs, something like that. Correct?
Well, the music business, at least at our level, is symbiotically tied to the bar business. If there are no beer sales and the bars don't stay open, then we don't have a gig. So,
Right.
Yeah, it is sort of that way.
So what, you go to gigs, you've been doing this a long time. People always want to hear a lot of the same tunes. Is there, what impetus do you have to write new music? Or when do you feel like it's time to put the
I
pen
feel
on?
like, it's time to write and make a record when the tour draw falls off. Because if you got a record out, then people, the critics will write about you, and the DJs will spin you, and people will know you're coming to town, and they'll buy tickets. Otherwise, it gets harder. But it used to be the other way around. The business model in the late '80s, when I started recording, was you toured to promote record sales, and hopefully you sold enough records to make artist royalties, and that never happened to me.
Right.
Because before you make any royalties, you got to recoup the production costs, which in those days were staggering because they thought you had to spend a whole lot of money to make a hit record.
Mm-hmm.
And then rap changed everybody's mind, fortunately.
Right. So really, that is it. Like when people aren't maybe things have slowed down. They're like, okay, well, I got to feed the pigeons a little more and make sure they come back.
Well, later in the 90s, it got where everybody has to do it our way because, Napster and Spotify came along and everything's digital and there's no royalty for that, really. It's minimal.
Yeah.
So, you might as well be making your living off the road, and we already knew how to tour cheap. A lot of people learned real fast. So.
Well, it's probably cheaper to create a new T-shirt design than to go into a studio and record a new album.
Maybe, but...
And sometimes it is sort of amazing that...
You can't play a T-shirt on the radio.
No, that's true.
So nobody hears your music that way.
But it is amazing that sometimes you can go to these big shows, music shows, and there's a lot of time they're not selling any music at all.
Yeah, that is true. And there are a lot of acts. I've toured with acts that would sell $40 grand in merch a night.
Yeah, sure.
I can't imagine that. But.
I mean, I'm a big Los Lobos fan. I go to the gig maybe at Green Hall. They're not selling any music, but
well, you can get it online.
Well, that's not that's different.
I mean,
I
don't really care how I listen to something. Everybody, because when I first started recording, everybody was all about analog and the stuff that had already happened. They wanted the good old days back, and I thought the CD was the best thing ever when I first heard that. I thought, why do you want to listen to vinyl anymore? It skips. It doesn't play the same way every time. And
it's much more, this is more accessible, convenient.
It just sounded better to me.
And,
but, everybody, and my ears, I can't really tell. It wasn't very long before I was perfectly okay with an MP3,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind. Still
Yeah,
music.
exactly.
But the artwork on the, the LPs and those CD long boxes was better. It looked cooler. I worked in the record store and business in that time, and exactly those long boxes, those CD long boxes. Those are probably collectible if you have any that aren't opened and still in the shrink wrap. Probably.
Those are probably worth some money to somebody.
At that time, cassette was the highest selling format.
Right.
Which was a real drag because you had to sequence your record in such a way that the A side was a little bit longer than the B side, so you wouldn't have to roll back when you flip the tape over.
Yeah, that's true, and I guess that's a little different than sequencing vinyl.
Well, vinyl you didn't have to worry at all. You're going to flip it. It doesn't matter which side's longer. And then CD came along. So my first record came out. We still had vinyl, and the CD was about to overtake cassette. So, but you had to sequence for all three. I mean, you didn't worry about the vinyl, but you had to have the thing had to sequence all the way through seamlessly so that you could play the CD all the way through without any rough spots from one song to the next. And you had to have that first side a little bit longer.
Right.
It was tricky. And we didn't have computers that could just swap things around. The way we did it, we'd put the song title on a little strip of paper with a key written next to it, and we'd put them on a table and shuffle them around and think about it.
Well, what I understand is that sequencing is a big, when you're putting together a new project, sequencing is one of those hurdles that is complicated
well, it's
sometimes.
Like its own song.
For us dinosaurs that came along before random shuffle, because now you have to have everything mastered real loud because it might get in the shuffle and you might have a low song coming after somebody's really hot song.
That is true. And that is annoying when it's one or the other. Who knows? But, when you get it all figured out.
Yeah, and then
it'll change.
And then we put the record out and don't ever listen to it again. So.
Now, since you've been doing this a long time, are there songs that you don't remember anymore, or that you don't? Yeah,
certainly. And there's songs we've never played live.
And that's by choice.
Yeah.
Or you just not. It's just don't feel it.
There's songs that we played once and they didn't work, so we just, we got plenty of other songs.
Yeah. I'm not a big social media guy, but I do look when I got some people that are going to be coming on the air. I look at your Facebook, and I'm not an Instagram guy at all. But I was looking at your Facebook page, and there's some people on there that don't like you, James.
Well, that's true. I mean, there's somewhere on that Facebook page
there's that one guy.
There's a logo on there. Well, see, I don't look at it. I just put stuff up there and then let them have, they can have their own stroke.
Oh, then they're like,
yeah, the feeding frenzy. But there, at one point, I included the words steadily shedding fans since 1989. But I guess the point being, if you're not willing to irritate people, you got no business trying to be an artist. You can be a cheerleader if you want to.
Right. But yeah, I looked at the one, and you were talking somewhere. You all were playing up somewhere up north, and this one guy jumped on there immediately and made sure that you knew that he was not going to come to the show. And then, of course, all your fans, it's just like it was a big rumble. And I thought, wow, James is just trying to promote a gig, and you guys are doing a pretty good job for me.
Well, the louder they yell, the madder they get, the more times their kids hear my name.
Yeah.
I want to know what Dad's mad about. So
that's true.
And there's going to be a subversive kid in that bridge somewhere. I'm not going to change any minds if they're already in with whoever's mad at me. But there's going to be one or two kids that are a little bit different. And they're going to think, who's this James McMurtry guy? And I have to do that because my first round of fans died of old age years ago. So I got to keep the thing going.
Yeah, I guess so.